What's good, everyone? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room. And this is where we at now. So, of course, apparently, the Sonya Massey case has popped back up. If we remember about a year ago, something like that, Sonya Massey was the lady at the house. And the deputies came in and she ended up being deleted, basically. The long story short. So they've ran the situation down. Obviously, they've done their investigation and they figured out that the officer was definitely in the wrong for deleting this lady. So we're gonna go here now. But before that, hold on. A little memory coming back to me now. I think that she was like moving towards the stove or something like that, if I can remember. And she had maybe some hot water on the stove, some hot grits, something like that. I don't know. I can't remember, but I knew she did. I remember she had something hot on the stove and they was trying to stop her from getting there. And she was like, I'm trying to cut it off and this and that. Woo, woo. So listen, look, let's go here now. Quarters, nickels, and dimes, people.
And good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kira Phillips. We're coming on the air because our ABC station WLS is reporting there is a verdict in the Sonya Massey police shooting trial in Illinois. A jury has just found former deputy Sean Grayson guilty of second-degree murder for shooting and killing Massey in her kitchen after she called 911 to report a possible intruder in her home. You will remember this body cam video. It's very disturbing. It shows Deputy Grayson opening fire while she was holding a pot of boiling water. Grayson saying he feared for his life in this moment. Jury deliberations began yesterday. Grayson has pleaded not guilty, testifying in his own defense. Let's get right to our Matt Rivers. He's there at the courthouse. Matt, what can you tell us?
Yeah, so this just happened. Very tense scenes, of course, inside this courtroom. A trial playing out really in front of the eyes of the country. Everyone waiting to see what this verdict would be. Coming down as guilty on a second-degree murder charge. The jury was charged by the judge to consider both a first-degree murder charge and a second-degree murder charge. They chose not to convict Sean Grayson on that first-degree charge, instead giving him a conviction on that second-degree murder charge. That carries a typical sentence between 4 and 20 years, but that's very different than the sentence that would have come down were a conviction to be had on the first-degree murder charge, which faced a minimum of 45 years to life. So the sentencing, very, very different between these two charges. So prosecutors getting their conviction here, but not getting the first-degree charge that many family members of Sonya Massey were certainly hoping to hear. We are going to hear from both the prosecutors and representatives of Massey's family at a press conference here shortly. No doubt they're going to be, at least members of the family, disappointed to some degree that first-degree murder charge was not to be had.
And this coming from our WLS reporter that was in the courtroom, that the courtroom was very silent as the verdict was read. It was quick. Sean Grayson showed very little emotion. He stood stoically and made no comments. After the verdict was read, he held his hands out, he was handcuffed, and he walked away. Let's bring in our defense attorney and ABC News contributor, Brian Buckmeyer. Matt was just mentioning that we were going to hear from Massey's family. Apparently, Ben Crump has made a statement as he's been...
Oh, Lord, here go Ben Crump. Jesus, man. All right, Ben. We know Ben always show up in situations like this, and I get it, but at the same time, though, too, Ben, shit, man, Ben something else.
Representing the family, Brian, what do we know?
Yeah, so what we're seeing so far, I'm just seeing some of this statement now. It's typical what you would think of statements, especially from Ben Crump, talking about how the death of Sonya Massey really led to significant reforms in Illinois. We know that this also had an impact in terms of a civil lawsuit where a $10 million settlement for the family was brought apart, also improving police hiring practices. While the jury did not hear all of the details of Sean Grayson's history or of employment, we knew about his employment. So I think in Illinois, since Sonya Massey's killing, we've seen a greater emphasis on who is being hired as local law enforcement and ensuring that individuals who have DUIs or unsavory recommendations based on either their military service or in previous departments, that they don't get hired.
Well, no doubt the most powerful piece of evidence was that body cam video. Video doesn't lie. Our Brian Buckmeyer, Matt Rivers, thank you both so much.
and this is where we at here. So we're going to keep moving here, and we're going to figure out some more things because there's always more on the bottom line. And yes, it is what it is here, people. You know, this is a crazy situation. Yeah, this young lady perished, you know, technically for no reason. Let's keep going.
Tonight in Illinois, former Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson guilty of second-degree murder in the shooting of 36-year-old Sonya Massey.
It's guilty. Second degree.
The verdict carrying a sentence of up to 20 years in prison, but Massey's family and other supporters had been hoping for a conviction on first-degree murder.
I'm fueled by rage right now. If you get an officer that says he's going to shoot you in the face, and then he shoots you in the face, and you only get second-degree murder.
Grayson stoic as the verdict was read. The jury ultimately finding Grayson shot Massey in her kitchen last year and that his claim of needing to use deadly force was unreasonable. This after Grayson testified he perceived Massey's behavior as a threat. The Springfield mother of two had called 911 about a possible prowler picking up a pot of boiling water and saying, prosecutors arguing Grayson could have left Massey's home after she ducked behind her counter and apologized. Tonight, Massey's father angry, but hopeful Grayson will receive the maximum sentence.
Because he showed no remorse. He was so cocky throughout this whole trial.
You felt like he was cocky?
Oh, yeah. Until today. Until
he was convicted.
Yeah. That knocked the smirk off.
And Maggie, we heard it right there. The Massey family furious. They didn't get that first-degree murder conviction. And this was a result of a late move by the defense. Explain.
Yeah, Tom, that's right. Right before closing arguments, the defense introducing that option of second-degree murder, perhaps to spare Grayson the possible life sentence that could have come with a first-degree murder conviction. Tonight, Grayson's attorney's not commenting. He's set to be sentenced in January.
And this is where we at here. You know, when you're in law enforcement, you are expected to be highly trained. And it's just like being in the armed forces, whatever. You're expected to, you know, be able to distinguish a threat from what's not a threat. And if you look at the video footage, your feet, they were tremendously, they were really at a, you know, they weren't even close. They weren't even close enough to, if she may have wanted to throw the water, it still wouldn't have reached the officers, you know, which, I mean, this is wild right here, bro. This is wild. So, you know, yeah, she called them to service her and she ends up deleted. Man. And, you know, at that time and stuff like that, that made for a huge issue of trusting the police and stuff like that. If you call them for something that you need their help with, they may end up deleting you. There was a whole issue behind that. Let's keep going, guys.
After a 7-day trial, jurors found a former sheriff's deputy guilty of murder for killing Sonya Massey in her home in Springfield last year.
Sean Grayson was convicted of a lesser charge than what prosecutors and Massey's family was asking for. WGN's Julian Cruz has the latest from Peoria.
Good evening. A jury of 9 women and 3 men, only one of them African-American, delivering today's verdict after 2 grueling days of deliberation, opting not to find defendant Sean Grayson guilty of first-degree murder charges, which could have carried a maximum of life in prison.
Second-degree murder? That is not right. That is not justice for anybody's family.
Outrage in Peoria over today's verdict.
She called for help, you all, and she was murdered in her own home. Say her name! Say her name!
In the Peoria County Courthouse, as the verdict was read, Sean Grayson clasping his hands together as if in prayer. As the jury delivered its verdict at 2:30 this afternoon, his family in tears, some of them praying. As the verdict was read aloud in court, Grayson remaining quiet, seated at his defense table before he was taken back to the county jail. The 31-year-old defendant shooting and killing Sonya Massey last year in her Springfield home. Massey had called 911 to report a prowler.
You come in the door or not?
When then Sangamon County Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson arrived, the encounter quickly leading to a deadly incident, Grayson firing 3 shots at Massey as she held up a boiling pot of water. Grayson, according to investigators, then refusing to administer first aid, the killing sparking national attention. Protesters from Springfield, Peoria, and Chicago marching outside the courthouse all week long, demanding justice for Sonya Massey.
We just want the jury to send a message that this is not, gonna be tolerated.
Civil rights defense attorney Antonio Romanucci reacting to the decision.
Their message is the one that the jury said, we rebuke you, Sean Grayson. That's what they said today. This second-degree murder charge, make no mistake, Sean Grayson is convicted of murder. He is a murderer now.
This was first-degree murder. In anybody's mind. We didn't get what we wanted today, and I think that was a serious miscarriage of justice. But Sean Grayson will get his. He'll get his.
James Wilburn, understandably with strong emotions tonight, he and others arguing that the body cam video central to this case clearly showed Grayson's alleged intent to kill or inflict bodily harm, they say. A second-degree murder conviction carrying 4 to 20 years in prison. It remains to be seen how tough a sentence Judge Ryan Cadigan will deliver. The parties will be back in court for sentencing on January 29th.
So this is where we at, people. And this is how it's going down. I had to let it play so we can get the full aspect of the situation, man. This is crazy out here. I'm glad that there's some type of justice. I get that the family is definitely in their feelings. They wanted the first degree and things like that. I definitely get that. I understand. But at the same time, though, too, I think that, even with second degree, they did acknowledge the fact that this officer was in the wrong. I get it. It's complicated as fuck. But at the same time, though, too, at least he's doing jail time. He's not out here able to, destroy anybody else's life and stuff like that or do anything else crazy. So, yeah, it just is what it is at this point, man. Yeah, and I think this is I think personally this is a win, for Sonya Massey. I get what the family wants, but at the same time, though, too, I think this is a win, man. And, what I'm saying, they need to understand that the jury did see where he was wrong, but, man, it's wild out here. But it is what it is, though. Shout out to all my subscribers. Mad love to y'all. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say,
and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line.